Hey guys, I wanted to welcome you to a new week. I understand it was a holiday. I don't do many holidays. I wanted to go ahead and check in because there's a lot of stuff been going on while you've been having fun. And amongst them, there's some people I wanted to go ahead and let you know about. Do you know what? Everybody needs to be alert. Seriously. Some of you are going to get on here a little later and go, what the heck is alert? Alert, that's A with a capital L-E-R-T, alert. Now, there are alerts out there that I wanted to make you aware of because they're telling a good story. These are people that go out and raise the flag and say, hey, pay attention to this, pay attention to that. These are smart people, a lot of them. Some of them, they do this at great risk. It's a public service. They advertise, they sell things on their channels because they have to pay for it. Some don't. I don't ever make any money off of my posts. And because I don't do that, because I'm not a commercial industry, I don't get a lot of support from Facebook and YouTube because they don't pay me anything or anybody else. But here's the point. Why do you have to be alert? Okay, it's getting serious, guys. I'm going to turn this around now so that you can see a screen. And if it works, I want you to see some things, okay? This is extremely important. This is a New Madrid fault, okay? And this is being reported on. And I listen to him regularly, but this is one of the things he says, and this is Oppenheimer report. I want you guys to pay attention to him. He is a really good young man, doing an incredible job over there, and so that's Oppenheimer report. And I think I could probably get that in there so everybody can see these, because I want to go ahead and say that. Okay, he's a forecaster. He's alert. That's one of your alerts you need to pay attention to. Now, there are other alerts out there, and some of them are really good, but one of the things you have to pay attention to, this has been several days of planetary storms. Now, for people who have heart issues, that means your heart is not ticking like it should, might have some problems. Like mine, I have a syndrome that causes you to have connective tissue disorder. You could have an aneurysm when the atmosphere is like this. That's a lot of energy coming in. Now, when I say a lot of energy, that's also coming in on the Schumann. Now, right there you see the Schumann, and it is a screaming. Okay, and here's the thing. If you look at this other part over here, look what happened last night. Oh, when I say it was screaming, it's really screaming. Now, in detail, you'll notice that there's probably not quite as much white on there when you go to the site, but I'm pointing these sites out to you because this is not my site. I didn't make this up. You can go here and get these from entities, Lerts. Now, another good alert to watch when it comes down to this is Dutch Sense. Now, Dutch Sense is an extremely intelligent young man, and he's out there telling you about earthquakes. And why is it important to know about earthquakes? So if you go over here to another guy, MRB, you see that? MRMBB333. He gives you this place where you can go find out at any moment what the heck is going on. Such as if there's a solar flare, he has the links up there. So Mr. MRM, as you see him there, that is another man that keeps you aware. Okay, he's alert. There's lots of alerts out there. Now, are they going to tell you everything, all of them? Nah, probably not. But the idea is you can go there and check your information. For example, he keeps this there so you can check it right up to date. You want to get rid of it, you go back. Okay? Now, why is this important? Well, when you want to go and say, hey, what's going on with the earthquakes? Why is that important? You go to Dutch Sense. He's one of the guys that tells you the truth to a degree. And why I say to a degree is what is the truth, ultimately? So, as you see this come up, watch that. Look at that. It's all the most recent. All of a sudden, here's what's going on. Earthquakes. Now, why is that important? Because then you go check out somebody like Dutch Sense and say, hey, did that dude tell the truth? And you can find out. And he said this was going to happen over here. And he said all these little dots you see, these are big dots in the big picture. Now, when I say that, guys like this, Oppenheimer, and he's talking about a whole bunch of stuff you need to pay attention to. That's water. That's rain. You think Texas got it? Guess what? They're going to get it over there too. So go visit him on his site, and he gives reports on all sorts of cool stuff, including the fact that this little hurricane might come in and hit good old USE from the west side. Now, how is that possible? Well, if you watched other things like Catfish Corner and stuff, you'd know. Major fires out there. Somebody had too many sparks and weed. I've had that happen on my couch, but I'm sorry for those people, man. That's a terrible thing out there. So right now they're having huge power outages, and this is such a cool video because I'm, of course, not an advocate for new construction. So as you watch this,
and watch the next section here.
Watch this. This is why I don't like to build new construction. And you go, oh,
those are some heavy winds there.
That's some heavy winds. So honestly, guys, you got to go ahead and pay attention to this stuff because we're about to have some really major crap hit the world. As these big dots, these are way up there, 6s. Now, what's unusual about this? You don't see any of those over here. Now, this is cracking, this is cracking. And if you go back to this one over here where he's, that's not all of it. See, that's not Dutch sense. You go back to the other guys and you go, wow, what's all this stuff happening? You guys are online all the time. What are you doing with your time online? Are you actually studying? Ice Age Farmer's gone. 3 months. I haven't seen him. Haven't heard from him. Excellent resource. You guys got to listen to him when he's on there. He tells you how to get prepared. World News Report. Again, he's talking about all sorts of stuff. Some of it's old, some of it's new. But keep in mind, you got to go talk and look at a number of different sources. There's a number of great resources out there. And I highly recommend you go to educate yourself. Constantly educate yourself, guys. So, as I'm bringing these things up to you because in the last few hours, and this is pretty critical, in the last few hours, we've been looking at a lot of serious changes. And one of them is the fact that this is what's going on. Big earthquakes. And if you watch them for any moment in time, you're going to find out that those are leading up to bigger ones, okay? Now, Dutch Sense, what I like about him is he puts these great graphics up. That's a big one over there. That's a big one over there. That's a big one over there. And on the far side, the antipode is another one. We're going on 6s and 7s. So as this progresses, a lot of people don't understand. This is going to go all the way around the world. And if you do understand that, if you start paying attention, it's very important that you understand that as this works its way up in the United States, we're going to see some quakes. And the New Madrid is susceptible, extremely susceptible. Now, all that energy, that is literally the energy coming out of the sky, from the sun, and into the earth and out of the earth, and it's a transition called green energy. I've made this point here. Oh, whoops, there we go. There we go. Okay, I've made this point. So please, go out and pay attention to this stuff, all right? And as you get to going and looking and watching, say, hey, you know what? Maybe that's affecting my world. Maybe that's affecting everything I'm doing too, because it is, guys. This is the Schumann resonance. We are made of a green energy, much like that, okay? And the green energy in us, the heart chakra, runs through our entire body. So if you had to be standing in that church right at that moment, I bet you get one incredible feeling going on. No question. So why is this so important? Because all of you are going through the same experience I am. Well, maybe not. I'm actually in Salvage, Texas, which is a little different than you. It's an isolated little space with lots of trees and chickens and rabbits and all the things we brought here. Water. If you see me down Dragon's Lair, that's what I'm talking about. These are things that I've done, my own little imagination, human energy. Imagination is powerful if you apply it to action. Now, most of the time I put these posts up there, they don't get many views. And I understand why. There's a lot of things out there to distract people. But tell you what, if you want to go ahead and exercise your superpowers, you all have them, you know. I'm about to turn 67. Now, why is that important? I'm changing my ways. I'm changing my ways. I'm getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You know how, in my entire lifetime, how many times I've done that? Except for being in the Army when I was turned 17, 18 years old. Besides that, I can count them on probably my hands and my feet, because I only had one job in life where I had to be up that early. Have a Tampa cigar company when I was 17, waiting to go in the Army. And it took everything I had to get to work by 6 o'clock in the morning. So now I'm doing it because I want to do it. I want to go to bed with the cycles of the sun. I want to wake up before the sun gets up and get this work done. So a lot of you are just getting up. Hey, Wendy, I'm so glad somebody's watching. Hey, the idea is this week, I want you to pay attention. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's people you can go watch, suspicious observers. A young man I highly recommend, in my honest opinion, he's probably one of the CIA or the government's way of disclosing to everybody what the hell is going on. And there's several entities out there. NASA, Never a Straight Answer, and others that you want to say, I want to believe in them. And then they go, You lied to me. I'll believe in you next time. Damn, you lied to me again. You act like a politician, not like an institution. Oh. Yeah, they're corporations. Like the CDC and the FBI and FJB, isn't that? Oh, excuse me. That's going to be an institution one day, or at least institutionalized, for sure. So, I'm trying not to be political. I'm trying to say this is really stuff you need to pay attention to, guys. And if you do, this week, I said in the beginning of the year, January, and I'm not a prognosticator, and I'm not one of these predictors. I'm alert. I'm alert. L-E-R-T. I'm happy to be alert. And I want to share it with you. Please, be alert. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Watch. Look. See? How you acting? I could have told you and act like that. Just look. There's energy in the air. If you're putting your bare feet on the ground. Grounding. I try to teach in other videos, if you ground. Now, this is no plastic surgery. I don't have any age spots. This is something I dug on my nose because I was just picking on myself. But really, I never wore a shirt outside. I exposed my skin to the sun, and I ground. I put my feet on the earth, and then that inflammation from the sun goes through the melatonin, which is the best antioxidant in the world for your body, and your vitamin D happens to have melatonin beneath it that makes that possible. The melatonin goes all the way down into the cellular layer and charges up the little batteries, because you have DNA in there and you have RNA in every cell inside of a little membrane floating in a little jelly, but you also have batteries. And those batteries, that's what you charge up. So what I'm trying to explain to everybody is, if you take care of yourself, and you age well, so that you can keep your muscles, your musculature, and be limber, so that you want to, I'm not really limber, but I'm relatively limber, okay? Run, jump, play, hurt yourself, and heal. If you didn't watch recently, I burned my leg, not as a demonstration, but as an accident, and took about 14 inches of my skin down to the bone, and then healed it in 2 weeks with no infections using Rife generator. It's a frequency generator you can get out of Canada. You can get it in the United States, but the bulb has to come from Canada because the United States outlawed it. Watch Richard Rife. He was alert. He was showing us about stuff, teaching us about stuff. If you are alert, L-E-R-T, an elder, please get to work. Help alert others. I know. I've already gone over everybody's attention span. And so I'm just going to go ahead and leave this and say thank you. And as a warning, an alert. Be alert by being autodidactic. Autodidactic. Go out there and learn some stuff, okay? Don't stay ignorant by choice. And once you learn that, don't be stupid and ignore what's going on. You can see the world's going crazy. You can see everything burning up. There's fires everywhere. Why ignore that stuff? You think it's going to go away if you just don't pay attention to it? And this week, these storms, these floods, these 1,000-year floods that are going on everywhere, guess what? Next week's going to be worse. And when you convert these floods into snow, winter, 1 inch of rain can equal 8 to 10 inches of snow. When you start getting 8 to 10 inches of rain in one event, that's 100 inches of snow in one event without the wind. Now, please, get your preparedness thing going, okay? Preppers are not idiots. Well, excuse me. Not all preppers are idiots. Not all sheeple are idiots. Everybody can learn, can turn on the little switch and go, huh, wait a minute, that makes sense. Yeah, it will. So, this character, in the little book I'm writing, Darby, in the book of Wibblery, W-I-B-B-L-R-Y, and Wub. Hey, Wendy, nice to see you. Yeah, God's man, he's going to clean it up. Yes, he's going to clean it up. And what's left over, the shining lights, that Legion light that's supposed to be coming. Hey, guess what, guys? See the light? See the light. See the light. It's within every one of us. If you want to refer back to Jesus, he's a good quote. I absolutely agree. He said, follow my Father, my light, the same as I do within. Follow. And I do. I follow that instruction. My job is here to prepare for you guys a solution. What's a solution? Answers, elders, wisdom, Hey, if I bang my hand with a hammer and tell you don't bang your hand with a hammer, it hurts, and you don't want to pay attention, you want to bang your hand with a hammer, go and do it, and you'll find out it hurts. Now, after a while, I'm about 35 years old, I started going, wait a minute, I'm running out of fingers. I'm banging my fingers all the time. Well, you can learn faster by reading. Guess what? Nobody reads anymore. I wrote 2 million words in the last 2 years. 3 million now. Oh, excuse me, 5 million, but 3 million published. And so these are, I thought, would be read one day. No, people don't read anymore. So we do videos. Well, now you can't see a video. Okay. So what we're going to do next is we're going to create a virus. I'm not creating it. We. W-I-I. All the I's together. These eyes. This I. The I you perceive me to be. The I that I was when I was a father before my son passed away 11 and a half years ago. His birthday was last week. He'd be 35 years old. And I have no heirs. But that generation, I have. Now, what do we do? What do we give them? This is long. This is drawn out. But here's how easy it is. Take this superpower of your heart, of your instincts, of your brain. And if you don't know how to use these things, you go to Joe Dispenza and learn from him. Greg Braden and learn from him. These are Bruce Lipton. These are doctors. These are people that go around the world talking about this, that helped lead me years ago, decades ago, as they were doing the research. I paid attention. I studied. I listened. I learned. I'm autodidactic. What does that mean? That means I pay attention to the facts at hand. When I saw a 118-year-old man and his 115-year-old wife do an incredible 5-minute Qigong demonstration in 2012 at the Qigong conventions before the days of COVID, and I saw them do that flawlessly, I was stunned. That's almost twice my age at that time. When I realized I might be able to be alive and moving that nicely, maybe not looking so good, but moving that nicely, I changed my ways. So I started doing something that I call it We-Gong. It's just me, we, all eyes, us eyes, all working together, and seeing what we can do to transform ourselves. And so I went from a broken back with scoliosis and total pain and thinking I was an old man, and my son passed, and I said, I'm going back. I'm going to be 29 again. And how do you do that? The Tibetans do it. It's called youthing. There are others that do it. But you have to find peace within yourself. You have to love yourself again. You have to forgive yourself for a lot of things. And you have to forgive others. You have to find in the mirror a way to love yourself, or you can't fix yourself. And once you realize, you can go back in time and change your past by changing your perspective, your perspicuity of your past. And once you realize you picked this life, you volunteered. You said, yeah, Jesus, my turn. I'll go in. What you want me to do? And I said, but I don't want none of that human drama. And he said, you know better. That's how we learn as spirits. We come in here and we suffer. We eat out of the dumpsters. We feel the pain, the empathy. How else does a spirit, a spiritual being, understand and grow? You think a light being has to suffer as much as a physical being, unless you're the light being, the filament. The filament, guys, inside of this gelatinous shell of water and clay. That filament is that light being that makes this operate. All these wonderful bacteria. Oh my goodness. If you want to think about it, there's virus, and there's more critters inside of this gelatinous shell sharing it with me. It's community. If we share it, we don't trash each other. I don't eat a bunch of poison and garbage and sugar. Man, the power. Once you make that battery at the bottom called the Don Chen, or there's all these names for what the battery of the body and how these different sides of the body work, the magnetic side and the electrical side, and you work your way up through the heart and the throat, articulate it, intellectualize it, spiritualize it, and then manifesting things with it. This, if you look at it, is an expression, epigenetic expression of who we are. Now, all this I create with my mind. It's 90% water. If I can make that water just by thinking about it hard, yeah, that's structural water. This is a long relatively informative for those who want to learn about it. But at 67, I'm going to assure you this. If I could have been told at that age that I could do this and be calm, hey, I'd have said, you're crazy. I saw my grandpa. He didn't do anything like that. He was about 280 pounds and could hold a quart bottle of beer in one hand and make it look like a regular bottle. And I sat on his lap as a little boy, and he gave me a silver dollar and it looked like a quarter in his hand. I weigh about 150 pounds. I could have bounced on his leg now. It looked like I was tiny. My dad weighed 250 by my age. But he also looked old, had gray hair, and many other things I don't have to worry about. By the way, that's real hair. Now, I want to tell you something. I believe in hair. It's an antenna. I like having a beard. I cut it off. Why? So that you guys would look at me. Yes, the power of positive thinking, one of my favorites. Oh, yes. I was going to do a little book list for those of you who want to read. This is going to be a quickie, but this is very important. Now, I publish on tinytexashouses.substack.com. That's where millions and millions of words that people don't read. 10,000, 15,000, even 40,000 small books and stuff like that. You can go there, and for $5 you can read it all, if you can read that much. But there's also pictures, lots of pictures about how you materialize and visualize, and learning the process of, again, it's concentration when you're a kid. Then it's meditation. This was gifted to me when I was young. Now, the books that helped me along that path, they range in, a variety of them, but amongst them is, of course, Khalil Gibran as a poet, and Siddhartha, which is a book written by Herman Hesse, I highly recommend. And there are others, including The Power of Positive Thinking, and then Napoleon Hill was one of my great guides as well. Another great one that I watched and read about is the Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. Most people don't even know the name. But Paramahansa Yogananda was actually a guru that came to the United States way long time ago in the early 1900s. That's water stored in copper, by the way. It's fresh water, filtered water, but it's in copper. It's not so bad that way. It's better. But anyway, the point is, these are books that really take you along a path, and you can explore it, and you can look at it. I say I lived a Siddharthic life. And Siddhartha, if you don't know about the story of Siddhartha, you wouldn't understand what that means. But in the end, it's not the material things. It's not the having been a merchant. As a father, I've lost my son. I have no heirs. I have a lot of things, and those things were very important to me at one time. They're not so important to me now. What's important to me is to be able to distribute them to other stewards, to open these outposts, to see co-ops where elders can teach their kids how to do these skills. These local kids, not going off to the city. Kids, don't go off to the city right now. Stay local. For the elders, it's your turn to teach. I know, who wants to deal with it? But if we teach in layers, if the 70-year-olds and 80-year-olds can teach the 60-year-olds my age, and understand this, as a male, and this is hard to believe if you grew up like I did, a male reaches his prime at 66 to 78. How does that happen? Because the elders in our country, once upon a time, the Native Americans and the others have all been slaughtered, and the same as in China and everywhere else. Cultural revolutions happen. They destroy all your history. Once upon a time, you couldn't even get into the elders' tent until you were 50 years old, because you don't start wiring the frontal lobes of your brain until you're that age. Isn't that hard to believe? It's true. And you told me that at 30, I'd said, screw you. My brain's better than yours. Well, you think you're smart at 30, 35. So I'm trying to condense a lot of this information into one possible transmission. Why? Because transmissions are going to be very important. If you can download this and save it, watch it later. You don't have to watch it now. Just hit that download button and store it. Why did I say that? I speak fast. I speak Michigandese. Michiganders, their accent, what's their accent? They speak at 300 words a minute if you don't slow them down and hit the brakes. If you want to speak in the middle, you better take the chance that they're going to take a break. Okay, so, high temperature, battery stopped charging. I'm going to unplug my battery. That's so cool. No, I can't do that. Anyway, here's the point. I've shaved, I've cleaned myself up, I've got a lot of stuff written. It's mostly sane. I'm about to get interrupted because they don't know I'm actually online. So, I want to go ahead and say to you, please, if you can, follow some of my videos, pass them along. Somehow or another, one of them just got 46,000 views. Can you believe that? They've had me censored for so long that for anything I do to get that many views makes me think that there's a hole in the fabric of their reality. You know, we create our reality. There's something happened the other day, and something's happening right now. I wanted to show you all that. The energy in the air is amazing. And if you put your bare feet on the ground, you can lower your blood pressure by 10 to 15 points in 15 minutes just by touching the ground with your feet. If you learn how to take that energy and move it through your body and out, you can change things. Literally dissolve clouds. Cloud busting. Now, if you want to do these things, practice them. Once you see how well they work, that you can materialize and make things happen almost as if time blindness. Oh, what happened? How do you do that so fast? How? Well, if you want to know, everybody's going to be different. But I'll try to help you out. And I'll try to direct you to some people that I highly recommend. I'm not an authority on any of this stuff. I can't teach you Qigong. I do Wigong. That's me. But I also write a book. I'm a writer now. I swore when I grew up one day as a kid I'd write. I didn't know it'd take 60 years. But I'm here. And it's a brief period. Most writers don't ever start at this age. If it hadn't been for Kentucky Fried Chicken and seeing that man, Colonel Sanders, start a business at 63 years old. Now, how many of you know about Kentucky Fried Chicken? It doesn't matter that it's going to make you sick and hurt you and make you fat because you're eating a bunch of crap when you go there. That doesn't matter. It's a marketing game. I've been in marketing a lot of years. I did the pet crabs in 1975 and spread the crabs across the country. I had great businesses, a great business career later on. I came to Texas with $600 in my pocket living in a school bus. Tiny houses. We call them schoolies now. Except I did it in 1981 when I got out of college. Went off to write the great American novel and found out with general delivery as your address, no beepers, no cell phones. In the old days, nobody wanted to hire you. And so I ended up in Las Vegas eating out of dumpsters and seeing there's no mercy in some places, but there are some good people everywhere. And Diane Carroll, a black woman who used to be a wonderful star, one of the most incredible, if you want to follow and become like somebody incredible, that was a woman to become like. And so I didn't even know who she was, and I was desperate, and I needed a place to park my bus to go ahead and rebuild the motor because it was popping like I had firecrackers going off, and I had no muffler gaskets on there. In today's days, I would have been thrown in jail and they'd have for the thing. But at that time, Las Vegas was very young, and she had a whole block out in the desert and a house on it. And I went up and knocked on the door and said, "Can I rent a space next to your garage so I can rebuild my motor?" And she let me do it for $75 a month. And I went out on my 10-speed and I raided dumpsters and got stuff to sell at flea markets and went and bought the parts and used the dummy Chevy, how to rebuild a Chevy motor for dummies on a school bus that had a Chevy Impala motor because I already blown the first motor once. And I rebuilt that motor and managed to get out of Las Vegas thanks to her letting me stay there for 2 months and go around on 10-speed and gather stuff in Las Vegas in the old days. It's just one of the many stories of just how I've later on really appreciated something I didn't get a chance to go back and tell her thank you enough for. I went on from there to Oklahoma and through, again, other incidences, including picking, I ended up down in Texas. So I want to tell you now, don't ever give up. Keep on going, and I shall return. Okay? You too.